For the last 12 weeks, I've been using index cards as my planner. I used to use the Passion Planner, which helped you plan around a goal in your life. Actually, a lot of big goals around 3 month, 1 year. I have this whole system planned out within the Passion Planner. I wanted to take what I loved about that Passion Planner and put it into the index card system that I was already using to manage my home. Mush them together so I didn't have so many different places that I was looking for things in. In this video, I want to share with you how it went because I'm at the end of my 12 weeks. Some things I really loved about the system, some things that I'm changing for the next 12 weeks. Also, how I mushed, because it wasn't just the Passion Planner that I used within the index cards, it was the 12-week year as well. It's a book for productivity purposes, helps you reach your goals, and I used a lot of the concepts within that book. One of the things that I did not do, though that was from the 12-week year, was a weekly accountability meeting, which is a wham. And so I'm going to kind of do that in this video. First of all, I'm getting over a cold. I want to show you my workspace. My cards are just a little messy. I was organizing them because I skipped a couple days. I don't have the dongle to make this guy work, which is upsetting. I do live on a boat, so it's a tight space, and my kids are off the boat, and so is my husband at the moment. So I wanted to use this time to chat about the cards, to find something to prop you up with. So hold on a second. So today is the 14th of September. I'm on week 12, and I was sick. So my card is looking pretty bare right now. But this, I just switched it up. I have another video of how I prepared them. Oh gosh, should I go over that really fast? Flashback. I have a free printable of the planner cards I'm sharing. Download, print, and cut out the cards to get started. Includes 4 blank dot grid cards, which will act as your task cards. To organize your task cards, you'll need date dividers. I offer just date dividers in my Etsy shop, and you can use the code PLANNERCARDS to get 25% off that product. After cutting out the weekly dividers, I organize them behind the end of each week. I place a plan divider at the end of my card deck for the blank task cards to live until needed. My monthly dividers have important dates noted. On the plan divider, I used a Passion Planner Game Changer mind map. I then transferred the action that I thought will contribute the most to my goal onto task cards. Then organize those cards among the date dividers based on when I plan to focus on each task. On my weekly dividers, I make a list of all the task cards for the week along with out of X score to incorporate the lead versus lag concept. The task cards represent my lead score. I also leave space for data I fill in at the end of the week that measures my lag. So that's how the cards were initially set up for this 12-week planner. Passion Planner just came out with their new next year planner designs, and they're super cute. I don't think I'm going to be getting one right now. One of the nice things about having the cards is that they're just thin pieces of paper that you print out and you cut out. If you don't like it, you recycle it and start with another. At week 10, if I look back at my planner, I had a moment where I was like, oh no, I wrote down rethinking my goal to be 100% in my control. I didn't write anything in that card because I was starting to get frustrated because things weren't happening and what had happened, which is a takeaway that maybe you can use within your card planner. I don't know. You do whatever works for you. But for me personally, having a goal that was outside of my control was not good. I set a goal around Etsy outcomes rather than what it was that I could fully control. I realized that everything that I've accomplished in the past has been around a goal that I'm in complete control over, whether or not I put the effort in. For example, on this channel, I shared my On this channel, I shared my experience with morning pages or walking 20,000 steps a day. Those are 2 things that it was me doing. It was based off of my time, my effort, how I felt during the day, and not necessarily on algorithms and just outside forces that I really didn't know how to control yet. So I switched up my goal in week 10, and I did like a whole separate mind map, that brainstorming bubbles that Passion Planner has you work through. I really like that format where you take it one idea and then you can kind of brainstorm things around you. So at week 10, I did that again. I had done it at the start, but I did it again with that idea in mind that I needed to have the goal in my control. And that was much more effective. I still have to refine it and clarify it for the next 12 weeks because I'm going to start making videos sharing with you the progress each week. So my number 1 takeaway is really think about your goal. Also making sure that you actually want it and it's not something that, oh, I could do this. I guess making sure that your why is really strong, which I think is so cliche to say. You hear everybody say, make sure you have a good why, but it is really important. So I have this card deck, right? Each day there are certain cards that you need to get taken care of. There's daily cards, there's weekly cards, seasonal and monthly, annual. Within that, I put the 12-week action cards, is what I'm calling them, into that day stack. Did what the 12-week year said. I created blocks in my calendar that said, you know, this time is strategic, this time is buffer, this time is clean. That's not in the 12-week plan, but obviously I have to. The biggest game changer was having, and you can do this with the Passion Planner too, just like grab a sticky note and write down, this is the one thing I'm focusing on. But it was just so effective to just have the item on the top of my card deck. I picked it up and I set it down on my desk, or in my case, this table. This is the one thing I'm doing during this time. And it was so hard because a lot of these things have been on my list forever. Like making a video for our family YouTube channel. I've wanted to do this forever, but it's so hard to sit down and get started on it. And there's a million reasons why that is. Having the card, it just forces you to sit down and get started. And then once you get started, it's like you're in the flow and it's much easier. So anyway, I just really love the idea of focusing on one task and not seeing a list of all the things you have to be doing. Because in honesty, making videos doesn't really make me any money right now. And so it's hard to focus on that when I know so many other things need to be done around my home. I also really loved the idea that it was 12 weeks. So it was a very specific amount of time. Let me tell you, that flew by. I feel like I just started it. 12 weeks goes by so fast. I thought it was going to feel like a really long time, but I mapped it out and 12 weeks is going to take me right before Christmas to get started again. I mean, that's just bananas. I really love the idea of making the goal get a specific amount of time, especially if you don't have like a race or anything that saying this is the time that I need to be training and be prepared for. Since it's something that you're initiating yourself, it just gives you some limitations. Also, when you're doing the task cards, one of the things that I found helpful, videos for example, I had a video for pre-production, production, and post-production because that's what I had used on Trello in the past with as far as columns go. So I was doing that, mimicking it in the cards, and I found that to be less effective. Again, it was just simplifying everything. So I added the list onto the card of all the items that needed to be done to consider that project or that item that was going to help me reach my goal done quickly. I've said this in the 6 weeks video, including in the action card a space for notes, because there are some cards like this that I wrote all over. Yeah, and the Passion Planner too, and it would mess up my weekly spread as far as like making it look pretty. Again, with the note cards, it doesn't really matter as much because you're not necessarily doing it for aesthetic reasons. I did use highlighters for categories and that type of thing. Another thing that I mentioned within the 6 weeks recap was that I really love the scoring system that the 12-week year plan implements or that encourages you to do. Passion Planner doesn't have the same scoring system. So in the future, when I start this next 12-week year card system plan again, I'm going to do a weekly accountability meeting, which is the WHAM meeting. And I love if you're doing it too, that you can share your results. But basically what I'll do is share successes, challenges, and then share my score with you and how I'm going to go into the next week. Did I mention that I added a habit tracker? Because I just did that the last 2 weeks and I'm not crazy about it. I think it's just one more thing I have to check, because when I make the list for each week, I take whatever, hello, bow life. I take whatever is on the week for the list and put them into cards, so I'm not actually checking that list each week. I'm just dealing with whatever's happening during the day. Whereas if I'm doing a habit tracker, I'm checking that weekly list all the time, which also is kind of nice because it reminds you of all the things that you said you were going to get done. So I don't know.